Oh, hello. I really wanted to do this video today because it's Enterprise Week at the time of this recording, and I just wanted to share what what I think is the most difficult parts of being an entrepreneur, and it's also something that entrepreneurs don't talk about, and there's a really good reason for it. Is It's because not only is it hard, it's really personal, and as you go on through your entrepreneurial journey, it's constantly changing. Um, but it also means it's one of the best journeys that you'll go on. So I've titled it "Take a Hard Look in the Mirror and Ask the Difficult Questions," and that's really what it's all about. As I mentioned, it's the journey of the entrepreneur that is hard, but it's all to do with how you think, what you tell yourself, and what your beliefs are, or the myths that you tell yourself. And more often than not, I meet a lot of entrepreneurs that like to tell themselves that making profit isn't that important because they have a bigger purpose with their business, which is always interesting to hear, I guess, from an accountancy point of view. And more often than not, they're confusing profit with their own wealth. So if they were to generate more profit, that doesn't necessarily mean that an entrepreneur draws out the money. In most cases, businesses that and entrepreneurs that generate profit for their businesses, it means that they can sort of invest in infrastructure, better computers, more advertising, update the website. So profit isn't just about an entrepreneur earning more. It's just silly. But what's important is that I do hear lots of entrepreneurs telling me that making a profit isn't important to them. Charitable organisations are really good at doing this as well. We're not here to make a profit. I think the church will probably say the same thing. Other people debate that the church is really rich. But again, it's probably not helping in a boardroom with these charities where they're sort of saying, profit's not important, it's the work that we do. And there is obviously value in the work that they do, but it's a ridiculous thing to say. It's absolutely ridiculous. Your business model has to make profit, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay? And sometimes it's interesting why an entrepreneur wouldn't be that harsh with themselves, why they wouldn't self-reflect and say, well, why do I think that way? My journey as an entrepreneur is always going on, and some of the things that I question with myself is the beliefs that I have about growing a large business, why I don't dream about it being bigger than it, or me restricting it back because I don't grow it to the way that it deserves, or I'm not building a business that's big enough, that's bigger than me, and that's the hard bit. And I guess sometimes as an entrepreneur, you just don't get time to look into the mirror and ask really important questions that only you can answer. Okay. And I guess a really simple one, especially for startups. Again, with it being Enterprise Week, I've dealt a lot with startups. There was a gentleman that I met today that had been running his business for a few months, and he was talking about how complex it was and that he'd borrowed money. If I cared enough, I guess I would have given some sort of different advice. But the advice that he should hear, which is not bias, it's not like my mum that would always say, "Oh, why don't you just get a job like everybody else? My God, don't run your own business. Get a job 9 till 5. Make sure you got money to pay the mortgage and sort out the kids and stuff like that." And my mum's not saying anything wrong. She probably feels better in herself for telling me what she considers as to be good advice. My dad, on the other hand, would be, go on, you can do it, you can do anything. I'm really gunning for you, and all that sort of stuff. Which again, it probably makes him feel better to say that. And the truth is, it's no one's actually sitting down and telling me the truth of what my business is, what I have to do with it, what are the obstacles and challenges that I have to face, where are my limiting beliefs. So, going back to the gentleman that started up his business, and, I do understand when you do start business, obviously you're going to go into debt, and that's fine, that's absolutely fine. But at some point, you have to look at your income that you've generated over a 4-month or a 6-month period, right? And you've got to really answer how you feel about that, okay? Because it's important. It's really important. It also means, if you say to yourself, I'm happy to have an income of, for example, because it's tax-free and I'm an accountant, I'm happy to have an income that's £8,000 per year, then why do you have that limiting belief? Why are you not raising the bar? Why are you thinking in that way? For those of you that sort of say, well, I don't really want to grow a business, I don't want to make it too hard for myself with regard to employing people, and no one can do the work as I can do it. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? If you really think about it, that's one of the worst things that you could be saying to yourself. Just tie a noose around your business and around your neck and say, look, I'm here. I'm never going to get away. What's interesting is I find that a lot of entrepreneurs are tying that noose themselves, and they're choosing to put it onto the business themselves quite willingly and happily. But it's not the right way to think. And the difference is the entrepreneurs that look at themselves and reflect and ask the questions and debate with themselves internally, those are the entrepreneurs that are doing the first step. The second step is actually changing. I did come across this quote: we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience. Obviously, a very clever chap called John, and that's exactly what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. For those entrepreneurs that are out there that have grown up in poor backgrounds or in communities that, don't look like everybody's doing that well. And if you're driving a BMW sports car or a Jaguar or an Aston Martin, which you might not see in your communities, that person should have robbed somebody to get that. There's no way there's a business person from this community that's driving that car unless he's cheated or robbed somebody. And if you have that background, or that's the things that you sort of tell yourself, you have to question why you're thinking that way. And from that experience, what you need to learn is, do you want to continue to think that way for the future? If and when your business continues to develop from a startup to making profit, the skills that you have in day one of your business, they are not the required skills that you need in 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years of your business. You have to adapt with the marketplace, you have to adapt to customers, you have to adapt with your leadership, you have to improve on everything that you're doing, how you think, how you work on and in your business. And I would say, as an entrepreneur, that not only is this journey very exciting, it's really lonely, but in most cases people don't even really give themselves the time to look in the mirror and to ask these really serious questions, and I urge you to do it. I hope this helps, and Yeah, and use it. See you later.